Hello guys, welcome to this video. So in this video we will look at the GitHub OAuth2 authentication inside React.js and Node.js and Express at the backend. So you can see on your screen we are displaying the profile information about a particular GitHub user. So this is my GitHub profile. You will see the name right here. This is the avatar picture. This is the followers, number of following public repositories, which is 79. We have also a logout button as well, and then we are showing the list of repositories with their name, a short little description, and also the link of the repo in a tabular structure. So you can just see right here on your screen. So I can go to any specific repo by clicking the link right here, and it will redirect you to the actual link of the repository. So this is actually this overall application, which is a simple. If I click logout, I will be redirected to the login page. So once again, if I click the login button, it will again redirect me to the profile page. So all this information is coming from the GitHub REST API, and we are displaying this information in the browser using React.js. So React.js is at the front end. If you see, we are using React Bootstrap for user interface purpose, and this is our backend code where we are actually interacting with the GitHub API, storing this information in the session, and we need to provide client ID, client secret, all this information. So this is the backend code. If you see, basically this is actually all this information is coming in the JSON. We are actually having the username, avatar URL, this is the number of followers following, and information about your repo. So you can see that all this information is coming from the GitHub REST API. Now to get started, you need to install some modules for this. So first of all, we are using Express, which you all know it's a backend server used to make server inside your Node.js. So we need this module. So what I will do, I will just make a new project. So I will make a new directory here, which is GitHub clone, and cd into this, and I will here make two directories here, first for the backend and second for the front end. And first of all, in this section we will be building the backend of this application. So you can see it's an empty folder. So first of all, we need to initialize the package.json file. So just execute this command npm init-y. So this will create the empty package.json file on the left hand side. And then we need to install some modules right here. One by one, we need to install Express, Axios, and cookie session to store the information in the session. Axios is required to interact with the API to make HTTP request, and CORS module is also required to enable the access so that your front end can access the backend API. So to prevent that cross origin resource sharing error. So these four modules are required. So just install this by this command. So once it is installed, we can actually make the index.js file. So here you will write your backend code. So first of all, we will actually make a simple Express app. So I will require it, make a new Express app. So I will just listen this app on port number 5000, and I can simply so let me just close the previous applications which are running on this port numbers. So if I try to run this, so I can simply say nodebound index.js. So it will restart my application whenever I make changes. So app is listening on port number 5000, and now we need to get initialize the GitHub API. So for that, we need to import all the modules here: Axios, We also need the cookie session as well, so we will require it. And then we also require the course module, so also require it. So now to configure some of these modules, which is cookie session and course, we need to configure it by passing it as a middleware. So we will use this app.use function. And first of all, to initialize course, so here you need to mention the URL, this origin URL. So here this will be the front end URL. So my React.js application will run on this port number 5173. So you need to replace it your front end URL. So after you do this, you need to pass the second option, which is credentials, to be true. So only the authorized users can access your applications. Secondly, we need to also set the cookie session as well. So for cookie session, it takes an object. First of all, it takes the name property. So here you need to name your session. It can be anything. I'm just naming it as GitHub OAuth session. Then you need to provide the keys. So here you will replace your secret key. So I will just replace any secret key you can choose. And lastly, the maximum age of the cookie. So this is in milliseconds. So I will store this for 1 day. So 24 multiplied by 60 multiplied by 60 multiplied by 1000, so it will actually exactly 1 day milliseconds. So after setting this session, now we can actually declare some global variables, first for the client ID, and then we also need the client secret as well, and then we need the redirect URI. So all these three information, you need to get it from your GitHub console. So if you go to github.com and just go to your settings right here at the bottom side. So you need to have a GitHub profile to perform this operation, and then you will need to go to your developer settings, this option, and then you need to create a new GitHub app. And then you need to sign in, so it will ask for the password, so just replace your own password. And here you need to give your GitHub app name, so I will say sample app, and then you need to give it a short little description. This is a GitHub login app, and just give it the home page of the URL. So in my case, it is running on localhost 5173. So whatever is your home page, you need to replace it here. Let me just disable this extension. So here you replace your home page, and then this is actually the callback URL. So callback URL is actually which, so after authentication, it will redirect you to this URL where the profile details will be returned and the access token. So I'm just calling it as OAuth callback. So right here inside your backend code, uh, we need to make this paste this same URL. So we are pasting the same URL in the redirect URI. So just choose the same one. So the home page URL will be the backend one. So just replace it 5000. So just give the home page URL to where the backend server is running. So mine is running on localhost 5000. So this is my home page. And after this, you just need to don't change these settings. And after you do this, click on this button, which is create. So it is saying that Then it will give you this your client ID. This is your client ID. This will be different for you, so do just copy this, paste it, and then for the client secret you need to click this button, generate a new client secret. So when you click this button you will see your client secret will be generated, and just copy to clipboard and then paste it right here. So you got your client ID, client secret, redirect URI. So after getting all this information, now you can simply do the authentication. So we will just write a simple route which will be coming from the front end. So this route will be the login route. So when the user presses the login button, this route will be executed. So we are just writing it in the backend. So right here we need to redirect the user to this authorization URL. So this URL, github.com/login/OAuth/authorize question mark, and then you need to pass your client ID and the redirect URI. So mine is stored in this variable, and then we need to pass the redirect URI as well. So you can see we are passing both the details in this URL, redirect URI and the client ID. And then we need to redirect the user to this URL. So we will use the redirect function. So response.redirect, and we will redirect to this URL. So this route is ready. You can even try this on the browser as well. If you go to this route, localhost 5000/login, so you'll be redirected to this route, and you can see that it is now showing this screen where you need to grant the access by clicking the authorize button. But we will not do it like this. We will do it using our own React.js application. So what I will do, if you see, we have created a front end folder. So right here you will make a new React.js application. So npx create React app and then sample app. So we are creating a new React.js app. So now in the background we can do this some write the backend code. In the meantime, the React.js application is creating. So now we'll actually write another route which will be this callback URL. So whenever you grant the access, this callback URL will be executed. So right here we need to write this. So app.get. So this is actually your callback URL, and just make this function as async. And so basically here we need to exchange the authorization code that will be there in the URL. So first of all, we need to get that authorization code. So we can extract the authorization code from request.query, and then we need to exchange this with the access token, which is required to get the details of the user. So now to exchange it with that access token, we can just make a try catch block. So now there is a method which is there, token response. Let me take with this variable await, and here you'll be using the Axios module, and it will make a post request to this URL, which is https github.com/login/oauth/access token. So here we are explicitly telling that we need the access token, and we are making a post request, and now we just need to provide this null parameter as a second argument, and then here you need to pass the params option. This will be an object, and it takes first of all your client ID, then it takes your client secret, and then it takes your authorization code which is available in the code variable, and then it takes your redirect URI. So this is your redirect URI. So after this, it also takes the headers as well, option this Axios library. So we want the response to be in JSON. So we will provide the headers here, which is application/JSON. So now this is, we can simply console of the token response. So you can see the React.js application has been created. I can open it. You'll see it's a very basic React.js application, and so now right here, just install two modules right here, uh, React Bootstrap and Bootstrap. So this is just needed for the making the user interface. So just install these two modules. So now it is installed. We can start our React.js application, npm run dev. So sorry, npm run start. So whatever your application is running on, whichever port number, so this is the sample app. So let me remove everything from here. Just replace it with hello world. So here in the front end, we need to first of all import the bootstrap at the very top. So using the import statement, so we imported everything from React Bootstrap and the Bootstrap CSS CDN. And here for this, we need to give some state variables. First, we need to keep track of the user. So we'll declare a variable for this. And here we'll be using the useState hook. Initial will be null. And then we will also be having a variable for the repos. So the initial value will be empty array, and then we need to keep track of the error message as well. So the initial value will be null. So now we just need a simple button in the JSX part. So right here, we wrap everything using the container element of Bootstrap, and we'll be giving a style 50 pixels. So right here we will have h1 heading which will say GitHub OAuth2 login, and just we will align this heading in the center positions. So here you will be checking if the user is not logged in. So in that case, if the user is logged in, then we will say think we need to close this. Yeah, let me just paste this. So here will be simply be saying you are authenticated. So instead we will basically be showing a simple button to the user, login with GitHub, and we actually binded a login with GitHub function right here whenever you click the button. So now we just need to define this function. So when the user clicks this button, right here we need to make a simple redirect the page by window.location.href to the route that we configured in the backend, which is localhost 5000/login. So if you see my React.js application, let me restart once again, npm run start. So it has started this application on localhost 3000. So I just need to update the, so instead of 5173, it is, you just need to replace it wherever it is running. So I will replace it to 3000. So now if you click the button, you will be redirected to the screen, account screen. So here you need to just grant the permission. So click on this authorize button. So now it will redirect you to the callback URL. So once you grant the permission, so it is saying that redirect URI is not defined at line number 42. Okay, the variable was redirect URI. So just refresh once again, click the button. So now you will see that, guys, you will get your access token right in the console. You will see the backend console. We are getting this information, which is access token. It expires in this seconds. We also get the refresh token as well. So now we just need to exchange it. So right in the backend code, we are console logging this token response. So instead of this, now we just need to store this access tokens in a variable. And after we do this, yeah, so we need to store this access token in the session. So first of all, we will extract this access token variable from this response. So token response dot data. So we need to set this in the session. So we'll simply say request dot session dot. We'll create a property called as access token, and we'll be equaling it to whatever is your value in access token. So it actually stores your access token in the session, and then we'll redirect the user to the actual home page, which is localhost 3000. So once you do the authentication properly, you'll be redirected to the home page. And now we need to make the route for getting the profile info. So here we'll make a simple get request slash user. Again, it will be a async function. And then here we again need to provide the access token, so we can easily get the access token from the session by using request.session, and we are extracting the access token property. So now we need to get the profile info. So to get the profile info, we will just make a simple get request. So we will get the user response. Again, we will make a simple get request to https api.github.com/user, and here you need to provide the headers, which is the authorization. Again, we need to provide here bearer followed by your access tokens. So So we are simply making a GET request to the GitHub API. We are providing your access token because this is actually authenticated now. So after this, we will now be getting the user response. So we can console log this, and from this we need to get the user property dot data. So we'll store this and we will return this as a JSON response.json user. So now we need to, from our front end, we need to make this request. So after we are authenticated to get the information, so we will make a use effect hook. So once we are authenticated, inside your use effect, we will call this function. So I will just write a function which will say fetch user profile, and it will not be dependent upon anything. So when you load your React.js application, this function will execute. So we now need to define this function. So right here, fetch user profile. So inside this function, we need to redirect the href to this URL, which is 5000 slash login. Sorry, this, not this one, this function. You are already authenticated. So now we are simply in this try catch block, we need to make a simple fetch request to this URL that we defined, configured slash user. So just make this function as async so that we can use await. So right here, the method here will be get, and here we need to pass the credentials to be include. So it will actually take your access token from the cookies. So in this way, now you will get your user data. We need to convert this response to JSON, and we can simply set the user now to whatever user data that we are having. So user data, so we can even console log the user data just to cross check that if the user data is coming in the console or not. So now if you test your application, if you go to localhost 3000 and if you click the button right here, login with GitHub, you will see you are authenticated. You will see this message coming, and if you see in the console, you will receive this object right here. And you will see this user profile information, which is avatar URL, biography, it is a username, and all this information will be returned to you. First of all, you get your, you can see that. So now we just need to display this information in the browser by some kind of means. So now to display this information, so what we need to do right here, uh, to display this, we are already set it this user to whatever is the user data. So right in JSX, so we don't need to print you are authenticated. Instead, we need to have a div tag. So we need to align this everything in the center position. So inside this, we will have an H2 heading, and here we will say welcome followed by your username inside curly bracket, and then I will show you the avatar image. So it is located in this variable avatar underscore URL, and the style property here will be width will be 100 and the border radius will be 50%. So if you refresh now, you will see your username coming, and this is your profile picture. And then we can show all sort of information such as the followers, which is actually located in this property user dot followers. So we can copy this. So here this will be for following, and then we can show the number of public repositories that you have created. So you will see all this information will be printed out. So after this we will have a button. So this button will be responsible for getting to log out you. So this is will be a logout button. So when you click this button, so here will be basically be setting the user to null. We will set the repos to be also null, to empty array, and we will delete that cookie from the browser. So here whatever is your cookie name, which is GitHub OAuth session, so you will clear out the session so that you are simply log out and redirected to the home page. So you will redirect it to the home page. Once again, if you click, so you are redirected back to the profile page. So now we need to show the actual public repos. So just after this div, just have a horizontal tag, and here we'll be having an h3 tag right here, which will say repositories, and we will basically be aligning it in the center position, so text center. So here we will be simply be saying repos. If the repos length is greater than 0, in that case we need to display the table right here, which is a bootstrap table. So you will basically make this table as striped, bordered. So these are all bootstrap classes. So inside your table head tag, so we will have these columns right here, the name of the repo, then we have the description, then we have the actual URL. So we need to get these repos right here. After we get the user profile information, we can actually now write the backend URL for that. So this is for the profile information. Now to get the repos, we can write another URL, backend URL, repos. So again, it's a route, backend route to get the information about the repos. So again, here again we need to provide the access token, so we can easily get it using request.session. And so in the try catch block, so we need to fetch the user repositories. So for doing that, we can declare a variable. So await axios.get. This is actually the URL you need to hit, api.com, github.com slash user slash repos. And then again you need to provide the headers, authorization, so you will basically get your repos. So again, we need to send the JSON response to the front end. We are sending it JSON response like. So now in the front end, we can call this. So after we return this, after we are setting the user data, we can fetch the user repos by again making a fetch call. So to your backend API, so localhost 5000 slash repos. So here the method will be a simple get request credentials to be included. So this will include it from your cookies, and then you can get the repos data and set again the repos. So that's all that we need to do. And then inside your JSX, so now inside your table body, you can loop through this variable repos, which is an actual array. For each repo, we will have these two variables, and you can give it a table row tag, give it an ID here, repo ID. So here, this is you're dynamically putting these variables. So this is the repo name. Then we have the repo description, and then we have actually the link to that repo. So we can have an anchor tag. href will be repo.html URL, and it should open in a new window. So target to be blank. Simply say view repository. So that's complete the application. If you now test it out in the browser, so it is saying that zero is not a function. I think I made some kind of typo mistake. So all the source code will be given in the description. So what I will do, I'll paste the full just to save some time. If you click it now, cannot use import statement outside a module. Oh, sorry, we pasted in a wrong file. This was this file. This is the code. Copy. So you will see that all your repos will be displayed. So all the source code is given in the description. It was just a typo mistake. That was why the error was happening. So you get this username, profile information, that avatar URL. You can go to any specific URL as well, repo URL. So all your created repos will come, and you can go to specific repos by clicking their link in a Tableau structure. So this was a tutorial. Thank you very much for watching this video, and do check out my website as well, freemediatools.com, which contains thousands of free tools regarding audio, video and image. and I will be seeing you in the next video.